Welcome to the Grit and Grace podcast, where real conversations meet real growth. This is the place where we lean into life's challenges with grit and rise above them with grace. Whether you're here for encouragement, practical tools, or a reminder that you're not walking this journey alone, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. So today's podcast is titled Fuel Your Mind, Feed Your Body, and How Nutrition and Mindset Work Together. Yes. So our last podcast that we unraveled was about just mindset. Yes, just mindset. So we talked about anchors and we talked about routine. And so today we thought we would dive a little bit deeper into nutrition and how nutrition and mindset work together, and even talk a little bit about how we can plan for the holidays to be successful.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm so ready.
Yeah.
I mean, because when we talked about the mindset, it truly is the tip of the iceberg. And so many things stem from it because, like we said, it is so important to achieve the goals and to move forward in your life in a path that's going to give you success.
Yep. And, interestingly, probably since that podcast, I've had more patients reference that. And then I've actually referenced it related to, because so many patients, they say, like, they follow us on social media, and they're like, how do you do everything that you do? How do you work out every day? And how do you run a business and have kids and all these things? And so I go back to our routine and our mindset and being selfless so we can be, or being selfish so we can be, I get that wrong every time, don't I? And so anyway, I think that it's so important. And so we're just going to look at that powerful connection between how we think and how we nourish our bodies.
Yep. And today we're going to be diving into the why behind our choices and not just the what, because sometimes the what is truly like black and white. It is making that choice, choosing the right thing, doing the right thing. But until you wrap your mind about the why behind it, it's like too many decisions that you have to make in order to do the what. And so the mindset is like, I think that the word of this podcast, just like you said earlier, is going to be anchor. It is going to be like a non-negotiable thing. And once you set that mindset of what you want to accomplish, of choosing up to what you want to do, that the what behind it is going to be easier because your why has been determined.
Oh, that's so good. And what's so interesting is we have anchors or we have non-negotiables in other areas of our life, but for some reason people struggle with it with nutrition and with fitness more than like other areas. For example, rules that we follow. There's some non-negotiables that that you're not going to carry a gun somewhere that you shouldn't carry a gun or something like that. But then nutrition, it's like we don't plan for what we're going to eat at the football game, So nutrition's not about perfection, but it's about consistency and awareness and we need to be self-compassionate. It may not always be perfect, but if your goal is that most of the time you're going to make the right decision, that's still a win. And interestingly, and I hear this all the time, it's the stories that we tell ourselves around food. Those could also be called excuses. So, like, I'm too busy to meal prep, or I deserve this treat. Like, that is so common that we associate all good things with rewarding over food. And we do that to our kids, and that's why we are where we are.
Yeah. But I also believe that people have such a hard time with the nutrition is because they don't see it as nourishment and they see it as restriction. As soon as we start talking about nutrition, it's like their mind goes to, what are you going to make me give up? What can't I have? I'm like, how are you going to feel? What do you get to do? And what is going to happen if you do this? And so when you think about nourishing your body and fueling the body that God gave us and doing what it's meant to do, it changes everything. It's so radical instead of only focus on what I can't have. And the thing is, when you talk about mindset and nutrition, it really has an impact on your brain and body connection. It impacts sleep, stress, emotions, and it influences so many of your hormones because of what you're putting in your body. And so the question is, what story are you telling yourself about nutrition right now? And so that is the question that you have to ask yourself. What is your story? How are you going to be defined as? What is your identity when it comes to nutrition? And I always tell my clients that is starting a journey onto taking care of themselves, making themselves a priority, being selfish so they can be selfless towards their family. A lot of it is moms that have children at home. And I tell them, you need to choose the identity of someone that's choosing their health instead of saying, well, I can't have that ice cream. And reframe it and say, I'm choosing to eat healthy. I'm choosing to not have as much sugar in my diet. I'm choosing to feel better because you could be influencing other people's decisions around you and how you view things by what you're saying and things like that. But when you identify someone that eats healthy, again, it helps make your decisions because they're set in stone then. Because someone that eats healthy doesn't go to McDonald's and eat a Big Mac. Mm-hmm. They don't do that. Mm-hmm. So,
one thing that I thought of when you said that, because everybody kind of has a different why, a different goal. And so I thought maybe one reason that it's easier for us that we don't view it as restriction, we view it as fueling our body. It all depends what your goals are. So both of us are athletes. So our goals are performance, our goals are how we feel. And so you view it from a completely different standpoint that I'm not going to fuel my body in that way because my end goal is not going to, that nourishment's not going to get me to my end goal.
I mean, exactly. Because even as a trainer, if I am seeing people work out and I'm seeing them perform and they're not having a good day, one question that I commonly ask them is, what did you eat yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Because
what did you drink last night?
What were the choices that you made to impact today? Mm-hmm. And people don't realize that every choice that we make is a deposit towards growth, health, activity, and positive, or it is a deposit towards is failure too hard of a word?
No.
Of not performing, of giving up, of not feeling great, of sickness.
Yeah.
And it's just, what's your choice going to be?
What's your choice? That's right.
But the thing is, you have to know your why, but you also have to prepare. And so the way that you can do that is definitely meal prep. So meal prep can be easy, and it is about self-care, not self-control. So when you take the time and you are preparing the meals and preparing food that's going to give you an easy way to get the food into your body that you need to go on the right path that you have chosen to take, then your time is used wisely instead of scrolling, sitting on the couch, watching them. There's so many things that is taking your time away from what you should be doing. And people say they don't have time, but I understand that meal prep can be easy. Mm-hmm. And it is so important in order to get you on the goal to your results. And the question that you need to ask yourself, if you open your fridge, is it ready to get you on the path? Or do you have to open your fridge and think, I have nothing to eat. Mm-hmm. I have nothing prepared. I have to go to the store. And so...
yeah, you will fail every time if you do not plan. And I think it's important to note, just a little, personal aside, that Christy and I are not good cooks.
No.
So if you're like, oh, they're probably really good cooks. No. So we do simple things. Mm-hmm. Like I told Christy that one thing that she has to know about me, my mom always told me, you cannot be good at everything. And that was related to cooking. And so anyway, it doesn't have to be hard. Yes. That's the practical piece. And going back when Christy mentioned the actual like physiological things that we can see associated with nutrition, I think about this, and not everybody like nerds out like we do on data, But when she was talking about asking campers, the people she trains, what they ate the day before, so you can see all these subtle changes when you do look at biometric data, like we wear Garmin's and Aura Ring, and your HRV and your resting heart rate. If you ate too late, or maybe you ate something that you shouldn't have, you can see all these little subtle changes, not to mention the actual hormone changes. The stat, Christy brings this up a lot about, what is it? If you eat more carbs, or no, if you don't get enough sleep.
Don't get enough sleep.
If you don't get enough sleep,
you're 22% more
Yes.
likely to make bad choices with your
food-wise.
diet.
So it just shows like the connection of everything between sleep and nutrition and hormones and all of the balance.
But the reason that, and I see this, the reason they're going to make the bad choices is, okay, it's all encompassing on mindset. Did they prepare the night before?
Right.
Did they go to bed on time? Are they getting up with a morning routine of what they're going to do that day? Or are they rushing? And if you're rushing and you have no food to prepare, the chances of that your meal is going to be high carb is so high.
Yes.
Because carbs are easy. They're simple. They're convenient. They taste good. All of the things. You have to prepare your protein. You have to get your fats in and things like that. You have to cook some meat. You have to maybe cook an egg and things like that. And that's the thing where you see the night before or your morning routine play into nutrition.
Yes. So in talking about meal prep, no better person to talk about meal prep than me, because I have 4 kids and I work a lot. And so I get groceries on the weekends. We have a little family powwow, or the kids text me and we come up with what meals we're going to eat for that week. And then I cook a lot on Sundays and to carry us through the first part of the week. But I've said this for years, if we don't have a plan, then we will end up eating out, and that is not okay. And so we have a plan, and we batch cook things, and I make snacks for the kids on Sunday, boiled eggs, protein bites, whatever, their favorite things. So some grab and go stuff that you can do along with the meal options. And when Christy was talking about macros, yes, you should plan it where you're eating a balanced diet, where you have veggies and you have protein and you could have one carb, a complex carb for a meal. And plan your beverages just like your meals. If anybody see me walk into work, they've seen me 3 large Stanleys that I bring for the day, full of water, each full of electrolytes and 2 waters. But it's part of my morning routine that I plan, because I'm not going to show up to work with nothing to hydrate with or without lunch. And so it really is just about planning. Yeah. It's about planning, and it's about a mindset that, and goodness knows, like, it's expensive to eat out too. So so plan so that your family has something to eat.
Yeah, I don't know how people can like go to work or go somewhere without a water bottle or a snack. Like there's always a snack. There's always some nuts in my truck or something that, or what's it called? A beef stick.
Beef jerky.
Yeah.
Chopstick.
I mean, a chopstick. It is always near me, because again, I can control the uncontrollable.
Yeah, well, perfect example. When we travel, we have our little snacks, beef sticks, nuts, granola, because we know that we're not going to eat in the airport.
Yes.
So,
we are not, no.
So we plan ahead.
Yes.
We might be a little malnourished by the end of the travel day, but we have at least
we've got some protein.
The basics.
Yes.
Basics, but that's planning.
Yeah, it's planning, because I've heard this thing. I heard it years ago. This statement is, you should never eat anything out of a gas station.
Oh, that's a good statement.
So it's a great statement, guys.
Yes.
But you've got to plan ahead in order to make that
statement. That's a non-negotiable.
It's a non-negotiable
in life. You will not see us eating out of the gas station or at the airport or the pretzels on the plane to keep us alive.
You can say no to the pretzels and the cookies on the airplane, guys. You'll be okay.
Pull out your beef jerky instead.
So one thing that we do want to talk about is cravings, because again, it's about mindset. And when you're thinking about, first of all, if your mind especially goes to restriction, then everyone's like, oh, I'm starting to crave chocolate. I'm starting to crave all of these things now, because you think it's been taken away from you. And that's what everyone says. As soon as they start a diet or a healthy eating plan or something like that, they have all of these cravings. And it was funny. The other day, one of my clients asked me if I have cravings. And I was like, of course I have cravings. I have cravings every day. Okay, we just finished Halloween. Okay, this was a funny conversation. So as you guys may know, if you do not know this, I have been sugar-free, no desserts, no candy or anything since 2021. It was 2021. Yes, it was. I thought it was 2022. So that's a long time that I have not eaten any candies or cookies or anything like that. So yes, I went through Halloween and I did not eat a piece of candy. It's fine. And I was fine. I survived. And I was walking through, and this is my son, my 31-year-old son, who knows this about me. And I was talking to my grandchildren and asking them what kind of candy do they want to get? What's their what do they hope they get? Do they get a Hershey bar? And I made this statement like, oh man, I used to love Milk Duds. And my son asked me, he's like, if you got some Milk Duds, would you eat them? I'm like, no. I may like the Milk Duds and I may want the Milk Duds, but I've decided I'm someone that does not eat sugar. And so when you decide who you want to be and the identity that I have chosen as myself, that decision's made for me. And it's such an easy decision. So if I do have cravings, I just
dismiss them.
I dismiss them. That is exactly it. I don't succumb to it. And that's just something that I always work with my clients is, you know, and I see progress of, and that's like a small win that they constantly do is I didn't have as much. I stopped eating when I was full, or I usually have a piece of pecan pie and I did not. And so those types of wins are those things that you can go back on and know that you are strong, that you are able to withstand your cravings, and you're going to be okay.
And it'll be easier next time.
It does get easier.
That's right. And you know, I see this all the time with patients that we all have an unhealthy relationship with food. It's the mindset piece, unless you were super intentional or maybe you've overcame it, you know. And so we're products of maybe how we were raised or how we've used food as a coping technique. And so I think you have to go back and self-reflect and figure out why you feel the way you feel. Because if you're viewing food and nutrition as a way to fuel your body and not a reward and those things, then it just helps with kind of the cravings and the eating to live instead of
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. You eat to live, not live to eat.
Yeah.
And it's like, I heard this statement say, not every meal has to be epic.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't,
It doesn't have to be an experience.
Has to fuel the body. And that is where you're getting the protein in, which is so important to make sure that you are getting your protein in.
Yeah.
And that you're getting the fat, because protein and fat are essential ingredients in your diet, and carbs are not essential, guys. They're really not.
Yeah. And they're satiating, so you're going to feel full. So that's one way to manage cravings is, you know, probably, wouldn't you say your clients, my patients, I would say 90 to 95% of them, particularly women, are not meeting their protein.
100% agree with that.
You know, probably 95, maybe more.
Yes.
They're not meeting their protein intake. When I ask people, are you eating 100 to 120 grams? Let's talk about that. And then we go through their day. I'm like, no, you're probably eating 50.
Exactly.
50 or 60. And so by eating protein at every meal, eating fiber at every meal, because the American diet is so low fiber because it's so high carb,
It is.
both of those things are satiating, which means that they make you feel full. And if you feel full, then you're going to succumb to fewer cravings. So it's all a cycle. And let's not forget all of the junk that's added to American foods that actually activates the dopamine craving part of our brain. And so all that processed stuff has chemicals in it that activate the craving part of our brain and make you crave more of that. And that is scary. And so by eating whole foods, you're going to help with that too.
Yep.
And then, like we said, prioritizing sleep and stress recovery. So you're much more likely to blow it if you didn't sleep good.
Yep.
And so that's all about the anchors. Like we talked about at the beginning is, you know, the routine, the anchors, what's important, setting goals. and to be mindful, like to pause before you eat, to sit down. Don't
Yeah.
eat standing up and graze. Those are ways that we overeat. One thing Christy said to me years ago when we were talking about nutrition was counting every bite, lick, and taste, because so many people don't count the little things that they just munch on, and all of that adds up to a lot of calories.
Yes.
So that's just being mindful. And, and even making a plate, the smaller plate, all those things we know, but that's just being intentional. And cravings aren't failure, they're feedback. So they're feedback that maybe you need to do the audit to see, are you eating enough protein? Are you eating enough fiber? Are you eating enough fat? Because we were people in the 1990s, that everything was sugar-free and all that stuff, and fat was like demonized. And good fat is not a bad thing at all.
But just like you said, you do an audit is if you're constantly craving chips and bread and high carb items, it's because your body is constantly getting them, and it wants more and it wants more. But when you start to eat more protein and you eat more fat, just like you said, most people are not getting it. The minimum number every woman should be eating, and I'm saying women because women are the most are the ones that eat the least amount of protein, because they think that if they eat less they're going to lose weight, and it's a myth, guys. It's a myth. And so when I tell them I want you to get 100 grams of protein, they realize how hard it is. But you know what? When you get 100 grams of protein, gets edged out? Carbs.
That's right, because you're going to be full.
You've got to get 100 grams of protein, and you might not need that cup of rice with that, because the protein's got to come first, and add the fat in, and it's mind blowing how much fuller you will be. So, and another way that you can think about nutrition and trying to get your macros and 100 grams of protein and putting your mindset behind it is timings and cutoffs. So when I say timings and cutoff, is when are you stopping your consumption of food? I see one of the biggest mistakes that people make with food and diet and achieving the goals that they want to make is they are eating so many calories, and it's so many carbs, guys. It's in the evening, is like that 5 p.m. to almost 10 p.m. window. It's like they get home from work and they finally have time. They head to the pantry and they are just snacking. They eat their dinner with their family, and then after dinner they are sitting in front of the TV and they're going to continue to snack. They got chips, they got popcorn, they've got everything. And they're doing that all the way to bed. It is calories that you do not need, because calories is energy. And so when you think about the evening, you're done. You don't need energy for anything else. You're going to go to sleep. Your body needs to relax. It needs to be done digesting. So I love putting every one of my clients on a cutoff. And the way that I set that cutoff is I find what time they go to bed. So if they go to bed at 10 p.m., their cutoff is 7 p.m. because you don't need food. You want to try to stop eating at least 3 hours before you go to bed. So when they have that 7 p.m. cutoff, and it's not 7:01, it's not 7:15, and it truly is a cutoff. And when I do that, so many people that have done that, they said it was hard at the beginning, but they feel such a difference. And it has turned off some of the food noise because it's that decision's made for them.
Right.
They don't have to decide, should I eat this? No, we're not eating. We do not eat past 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I have chosen not to eat past 7 p.m. And so the less decisions that you have to make regarding especially nutrition, the easier it is and the more success that you will have. So late night snacking, do an audit of your time and see how much food that you're consuming in the evenings.
Yeah. Go back and listen to our fasting podcast for a deeper dive in that. I often tell people, and this is it seems so simplistic, but just that there's power in just eating 3 meals a day and for fasting for 12 hours. Like, that's so basic.
Yeah.
But in other words, You don't need the snacks. Like if you eat 3 times and don't eat for 12 hours, like that's a huge start for a lot of people.
Exactly.
So, I mean, sadly, it's a huge start, but
Yes.
you know, sometimes we just have to do the basic things first, and those are basic things, the distinct cutoff. So, like Christy said, just a general guideline should be that we finish eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. And then, you know, if you are an athlete or you're an early riser, how can you fuel in a smart way? And so morning light exposure, quality breakfasts to help regulate metabolic health. So think about some things that I feel like particularly that you might feed your kids that you shouldn't. Your breakfast should not be a high carb, high sugar, you know, the cereals, the Pop-Tarts, the pancakes. That just causes a huge spike in blood sugar, and then you're just kind of fighting it for the rest of the day.
Yes.
So a high protein breakfast, really, like, the reoccurring theme here is protein. So that, and so as an athlete, you should fuel that way too. And then, so let's talk a little bit about holidays, because I decorated for Christmas yesterday. So
I did not.
surprise. So, you know, some people blow it at the birthdays, the Christmas, the Thanksgiving, and it doesn't have to be that way because, like we said before, first of all, I think it starts with where your mindset is about food. So really knowing that and settling into the fact that food is just a way to fuel your body. And you know, one thing that I used to tell diabetics this, but I tell everybody this: if you are going to pick something that you're going to cheat on, then cheat on what you really want. Don't cheat on store-bought cookies if it's the holidays. Like, cheat on the homemade thing that's your grandma's thing that she makes once a year, and it's a small piece or whatever, and be done with it. But don't just eat it because it's there, you know. And so that's where mindset gets tested, is the holidays, because you go in and you see all these things and you view it as like a splurge. But you can really derail yourself with that splurge.
It's bad.
And so I also think that so many people, they put off when they're going to start. You know, the saying about like, there's no better time to start than now.
Right now. Yep.
And so many people go, I'm just going to blow it from Thanksgiving through New Year's, and then I'll restart January 2nd. Well, it's going to take you till June to regroup.
To restart back to where you were.
That's right. And so that is a terrible mentality, you know. So we have to go back to, you know, maybe you're going to take that one cheat or whatever, and then you're going to get back on track. Remember, we said it's not about perfection, but it's also not about complete destruction. So reframe your mindset that you can enjoy the season without abandoning your rhythm. And so, perfect example. Are we still going to exercise on the holidays? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you're still going to pay attention to nutrition and all of those things. So the holidays should not be your excuse for being derailed.
Yes. I actually, I was talking to my campers the other day at my 8:30 class, and it's a lot of, you know, young moms with, you know, young children, and they're going to be going to school parties and, you know, all the cupcakes, all the things, all the parties, everything. And I told them, because it was Halloween, it was Halloween when I talked to them, is I'm different in my mindset. I like to do hard things. I do enjoy that. I like a challenge. And I told them that I do enjoy doing a hard thing during the holidays, because starting on Halloween, it is like a free-for-all until January 1st. And it's like, and like
that's that's a fourth of the year.
Yeah. and I constantly say, I don't want to turn around and say, how did I get here? You can get there in 2 months, guys. You can totally ruin everything that you have done in 2 months. And because you're making Thanksgiving, you're making Halloween last for 2 weeks, because the candy's still on your counter. You're making Thanksgiving last for 2 weeks, even though it's a single meal, possibly 2 or 3 with family. That's a meal. And then Christmas. I mean, Bethany's already celebrating Christmas at her house.
Right.
And it is unreal. So I told them, I was like, you know what's a good challenge? how about we don't eat sugar until Thanksgiving? Why not? Why not do that? Because just like I said with the cutoff, if I have cut off the food noise because I cut my food off at 5 p.m. every night, I don't have to make a decision of what I'm going to eat after 5 p.m. I don't eat. And now if I have made the decision starting on November 1st until November 27th that I'm not going to eat sugar, it doesn't matter if you're going out to eat or you're going to a party and it's not Thanksgiving yet. I'm not going to have that cookie. It's less decision making. I like that idea. Do you like that idea?
I do.
I think it's a great idea.
It's a good idea.
But again, be mindful of the holidays. So if you do have, Halloween candy still out when this podcast is released, give it away, throw it away. No one really needs it. And just get rid of it because it's a temptation. And if it's in your house, that's the last place that you want to be tempted. Why come home to temptation? And so remove the temptation. And again, let go of the all or nothing. I know I just said do something hard, but you can indulge in those small things. Just like you said, if you see a cookie, doesn't mean you have to eat the cookie. Eat the, what is something on your birthday? What does someone cook for you on your birthday?
I do not eat sweets. I do not eat sweets. But my birthday, my mom makes homemade blueberry cobbler.
Okay,
yes.
I knew that.
And
it was
I
something that you eat like a tiny portion.
Yeah, not a tiny portion, a healthy portion. A healthy portion on my birthday. She makes it for me, homemade. Yeah. The crust is homemade. It's all homemade. It's worth the cheat.
It's worth the cheat.
But you know what? I did not put a piece of Halloween candy in my mouth, and it was not even a temptation.
No.
Didn't even have any in my house. Well, maybe one of the kids did, but no, not a temptation. But I will cheat on that one thing. Yeah. But it all has to do with mindset. Yeah. And, I feel like I keep going back to, it goes back to what your goals are. And I think too, we don't have enough goals. I have a lot of goals.
Every month we make new ones.
But whatever your goal is, if your goal is to lose weight, if your goal is for your cholesterol to be lower, if your goal is for your hemoglobin A1C to not be in a borderline range, what are your goals and how are you going to get there? Yeah. Our goals are DECA and races and fitness. And so a bad diet doesn't fit into that.
Yeah, it does not.
So,
but, and another thing when it comes to mindset and it comes to the holidays and it comes to everything else is the stress connections of what's going on. Why are you making the bad choices with nutrition? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you still prioritizing that? When you do have events, just to make sure that you are possibly prepared for it. Plan ahead. Maybe eat a small meal before you go so you're not as hungry. So there's ways around the holidays that you can still be successful and be on the path of health and fitness and accomplishing things. And if it's weight loss, that you can still lose weight during the holiday. And that's our ultimate goal.
I think about months back, Christy and I went to something together. And it was like a cookout kind of thing. Oh, and so number one hack that I have for a perfect thing, group text today while I was at church, that it was about the Thanksgiving plans for my family. It was a group text. And somebody in the family wrote everything that they were going to provide. And I read it, and there was not one thing that was healthy. And so, you know what I said? I'll bring salad. I bring all the green stuff because otherwise it's all carbs. So one thing we always do is we bring the healthy stuff because we know it's something for us to eat. Yeah. We've always done that. So that's one hack. But anyway, back to this cookout that we went to. So there weren't a lot of great, super healthy options. So what did Christy and I do? We were like the snobs for our health. Yep. And we got just the hamburger patty and, did not drink the Dr. Pepper. Nope. And I think people kind of looked at us funny.
We did not partake in the potato salad or whatever else there was.
But you can still make the best decision for where you are.
Yeah, and we ate fine. I probably had 2 hamburger patties. And
and you feel so much better afterwards. You can do that
anywhere.
I hear that all the time, that people say, well, I'm in this situation, so I can't make the best decision. No, you can plan for it. Nobody made you get those chili cheese fries at the football game on Friday night.
Yes.
Because I ate before I went.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I have a cutoff at 7 p.m.
Right.
If you have a cutoff at 7 p.m., because I hear a lot of people that are busy with sporting events.
Yes, that's such a common
Oh my.
thing.
They're like, well, we ate afterwards. Why? You don't have to eat at 9 p.m. just because you finished a baseball game. I mean, if your children want to eat, okay. But what are your goals and who are you and what is your identity?
Yeah, one thing that I've heard Christy say a lot, it sounds a little harsh, but it's true, is it's okay to go to bed hungry.
It is, 100%. You're probably going to sleep better. Your resting heart rate's going to be lower. Your HRV is going to be higher. It's all good, guys.
So
I
just
promise.
go to bed and start over the next day. I think that after this podcast, people may think we're a little malicious.
It's mindset. It's goals. It's goal
is.
setting, and again, we review our goals. I've always made new goals. This year in 2025, I started writing them out on a 3x5 card and listing them out. And so, when Bethany and I have our coffee after our runs, we discuss our goals when the new month is here. And it's a way of holding each other accountable because I don't want to remain stagnant. And my mindset is I do want to lead from the front. I do want to make sure that my life is going in a direction of growth and that I am challenging myself and that I am making decisions that is good for me, good for my family, good for my business, and first and foremost, that it is strengthening my relationship with God. Because that's my priorities and those are my anchors and those are my non-negotiables. And so what can I do and what mindset can I have to strengthen that and be stronger?
Yeah. And it's sad to me because I feel like in other areas, people can be goal oriented, but for some reason, food and nutrition is such a hard thing. And it's probably because of the emotional connection that people have with eating and the social connection. But if you reevaluate and you're mindful, it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. It doesn't have to be that. So just simple strategies like we talked about, more related to nutrition during the holidays and just overall nutrition is what are your priorities? What are your anchors? What are your non-negotiables? So everybody should do a little self-reflection audit for themselves. And don't skip a meal before an event. So we do this at my house. My husband eats really healthy too. Is we will eat before we go somewhere, and then we will just make a little plate, for these holiday meals because we know that there's not going to be healthy stuff. Yeah. And so it's okay just to eat your normal stuff before, and then just be a little bit social, and then or clean the kitchen. Like that's what I do. I just serve in the kitchen. So and then hydrate throughout the day. So just be mindful of how much water intake you're getting, and then those anchors. Exercise, greens, prioritizing sleep, and then goals not to be perfect, but to be present. Yeah, so, and we just need to give yourself grace, but you can only give yourself so much grace on the Grit and Grace podcast. The rest is grit. You got to have a plan.
It is. Yes, it is. It's deciding what you want and what are your goals, and then having that mindset and taking the stand, just like she said that we were like snobs for ourselves. I wish more people would take a stand for themselves.
So then it wouldn't be like you're the outcast. I know. Because it should be the norm. It should be the norm.
It's crazy how many people are like peer pressured almost into being at a social event and feeling like they have to partake. And just like you said, it's not about being perfect, it's about being present. So when I'm at a social event, I should try to invest more into a relationship building and having a conversation with someone and being present instead of how much food can I eat right now? Like, hey, look, all this food. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it isn't. It is about mindset and choosing who you want to be.
Because that's totally what we do. We just come and we just socialize, and then nobody really knows that you didn't eat.
Yeah, and it's I will never be peer pressured into making a decision that's going to be bad for my body. Because it's not worth it. It's truly not worth it. So the thing is, we do want you to understand that, you know, the holidays are going to bring in just a different temptations. It's going to bring in different ways that you have to have your mindset set. And so that's what I want you to think about while you're listening to this podcast is who are you going to be during these holiday meals so that you can decide what decision you're going to make that's going to be better for you. And again, consistency always outweighs intensity. So when you are consistent and you're consistently eating a good protein and fat breakfast, eggs and avocados, things like that, eat the whole egg, guys, it's good for you. And you're not constantly eating all the carbs and you're consistently getting 100 grams of protein, it truly adds up and you're going to see success. And so the question is, I want you to think about this question. How do I want to feel when the holidays are over? Depleted or grateful?
That is such a good question. Such a good kind of self-reflection.
I know how we're going to feel.
Yeah, we're going to feel fine.
Yes.
One thing that I thought about, just a little deviation, but it's like that's the reason we run the turkey trot, because our family, not so we can eat, but because we want to prioritize fitness, be healthy.
Yes.
The holidays are not a reason that you have to not be active. So sign up for a race, do something different. You don't have to start your day on Thanksgiving with mimosas. Like, go run a race. So your nutrition is an act of gratitude, not control. And, you know, do the family meeting. That's kind of my hack, is do the family meeting on Saturday before you get groceries, or on Friday, and have a plan. That's what you have to start with, is a plan. And then to fill your fridge with stuff to feed your family at the beginning of the week.
Yeah. And again, guys, you want to, again, listen to your cravings and ask yourself why you're having these cravings. And the best piece of advice that I can give you is create a cutoff time. Look at your consistent bedtime, go back 3 hours, and make that your cutoff time. And if you do that, from listening to this podcast, please tag us on a social media and just say what you've got from doing that cutoff time of 3 hours, and tell us how you feel. Tell us if you're sleeping better, and see if it did quiet the food noise in the evenings. So I have a challenge for you, because again, I like to do hard things, and I want to make sure that you're always walking away with something from our conversations. Is choose one new habit this week and journal how it changes your energy and mindset. Just that's a great idea. I'm saying this week only.
Yeah, just once a week. And then tell us what you did. Tell us what you did and how it changed. Yes. Because something that somebody that we follow says, and I thought about it this morning when I was exercising, consistency compounds. And so when we make small, consistent choices, it adds up over time. And so whether that's nutrition, or whether that's fitness, or whether that's personal growth, consistency over time compounds.
That's powerful, right? I like that, because then it becomes a habit. And we've talked about habits, and that was part of our mindset, is when it becomes a habit, it's great, guys. So the thing is, again, we want to encourage you progress over perfection, and you can't out-discipline a poor mindset. So get your mind right, settle into what you want to be and how you want to identify yourself as. And please share your wins, your meal prep photos, and any reflections that you're using. And tag us with Grit and Grace Wellness.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.